Hey, what's up guys? Brandon here. Today I'm bringing you a very interesting deck tech profile. Many years ago when Tom Rogers and I were playing Kajudo back in 2013, 2014, he told me about a deck that he believed solved, quote unquote solved, the TCG. He said this deck has great matchups against the board and it does very well against Bombazar and both Rub Control, blue, black, red. So this is my take on it. His version is very, very different, but here's mine. I chose to not use Corral and Cranium Clamp. I tried to be more creative with this version, and I opted for other cards instead. So let's jump right into it. Belix the Explorer. Fun fact, this card is still pricey in Japan. I think it's because it didn't get many reprints, if any at all. It's just a toolboxy card. I can get back any spell I want from my mana zone later in the game. This deck is a little soft to rush, that's its one downside, but we do play a few shield triggers. And if we do get rolling, things can get out of hand really quick for the opponent. Soul Swap, one of the key cards in this deck. We'll get more in the combo later, but this card is insane in here. It's the key centerpiece. It's the reason why this deck works. Clone Nightmare. I chose not to play Clamp. Yes, this is limited to one in Japan right now, but it wasn't banned in the TCG. It wasn't even limited at all. So I'm going to use it instead of Cranium Clamp. It's actually fair as a 1 or 2 of, I believe, but I think after that it starts getting pretty insane. Could also recur it with Foul Ego. Miraculous Snare, alternate art, pretty, right? So what this does is you put a guy in the battle zone into its owner's shield zone. We can use it defensively with our own Aqua Surfer, or we can just use it to snare a big guy that our opponent has that we can't deal with. Energy Stream, mode change, very, very nice, right? 4 of Bronze Arm Tribe, great card in here, ramps perfectly into our Sky Sword, Savage Vizier, and also can evolve, and we'll get more into that later. Rainbow Stone, super, super slept on card. Fun fact, this is one of the very, very few cards from the TCG that is still used in the OCG today in Japan. This card is very powerful. You can do mana tricks with this. You can put something in your mana zone to swap out for Soul Swap, and it ramps you. Very, very slept on, powerful card. Going to be using this in other decks. Corpse Charger can revive a Belix or a Foul or something later. Not crazy about it. It's on the chopping block, but it's a decent one. Could be a dark reversal too. Thresh Crawler just acts as a third Belix. Not crazy about it, but he does his job. Recursion card. Guess what card this is? Alright, done? It's Crystal Memory. Pretty ridiculous, right? So like a little rapid in a submarine. Very good card, toolboxy card. I can search out anything I want at the time. If they break it in the shield, I get whatever's best for the scenario. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, this card is actually Cyber Brain in Japan, but I'm treating this as Brain Serum because I wanted to bling out most of my collection and decks. I did a large order from a Japan proxy service. In another video, you can go check those out. It's a very large series, but this is Brain Serum. This is just here for more draw. It's a 50 card deck, and the only draw is this playset of Energy Stream, so I felt I needed a little bit more draw. Foul Ego, I can get back my Soul Swap, my Energy Stream, Clone Nightmare to keep reusing it as a mini clamp or so on. Yeah, very, very powerful card. Just as a 2 of, very good. Sky Sword, one of my favorite arts ever in Duelmasters history, the alternate. This guy ramps you, occurs perfectly with Bronze Arm into Sky Sword, into either Lost Soul or Miraculous Plague. Beautifully, he evolves too. We're gonna get more into that later. Terror Pit, gorgeous mode change art, 4 of Staple. Aqua Surfer, very, very good card. We're opting for Aqua Surfer over Corral. We're trying to not use cards that people have feelings about, like Cranium Clamp and Corral. Works really nicely with Miraculous Snare defensively. Is great in the shield against Rush. It's very, very destructive if Rush hits this early. Great card overall, great spot removal. Fighter Dual Fang, one of my favorite Duelmasters cards ever, can evolve from either our Bronze Arm Tribe or our Sky Sword. This card works brilliantly in here. It allows us to ramp up to turn 9 to summon the key part of this deck. I love this card. He gets rid of big bodies. He can kill a big body, bump into a Warlord Ausonius, kill their Crazed Valkyrie. If they have a board that's been juiced up with Petrova, it allows you to get this big body on board so you can deal with one guy. So yeah, this guy works great. Love dual fending here. Works very well. Lost Soul curves perfectly from Sky Sword. And the Bronze Arm can get this out as early as turn 5, as early as it can come out. Pretty insane card. Once you cast that, then you start going to work on the mana burn strategy. Miraculous Plague, very powerful card. Also curves very nicely from Bronze Arm into Sky Sword. It's removal and mana burn, which is absolutely insane. Limited to 1 in Japan, one of the most powerful Duelmasters spells in history, and rightfully deserves that title. Very powerful card. Now, what this deck was built around, Fortress Shell. As you can see, this came from only set 2, the Evolution set. No one played this card at all in Duelmasters. People probably saw the 9 cost, they said, can't do it, 9 is too much. Why am I going to kill their mana for 9? But then, this guy came out. One of the most powerful spells in Duelmasters history, right up there with Miraculous Plague. So the whole point of this deck is Fortress Shell Abuse with Soul Swap. So if I have 8 mana, I can simply just Soul Swap a Bronze Arm, a Belix, Sky Sword, a weak guy, and put in Fortress Shell. And once Fortress Shell is in, I can just keep casting Soul Swap on Fortress Shell himself and keep abusing him. So pretty much for 3 mana, I'm killing 2 of your mana. And I'm going to kill the mana that's essential. This card is very powerful against Bombazar decks because they run low fire counts. So if you can manage to kill their split manas, like their Bombazar mana, so they can't Soul Swap him in, if they have Wind Axe or Ganta, you can kill their mixed manas, and you could also kill their blue mana, which they don't play much of. So this deck is very, very powerful. It just might be one of the best Duelmasters TCG decks from DM set 1 to 12. This is my interpretation. We will work on it in the future. But yeah, fun fact, this is also really good against Bombazar because if they have 6 or more mana, you can use Soul Swap, take one of their guys, put in their mana, and put their Bombazar in the battle zone, and then they have 1 turn to win the game. So this deck is actually very powerful, has good matchups pretty much across the board, and no one really uses this in competitive play. So shout out to Tom Rogers for figuring this one out. This is my take on it. We might improve this later, change it up a little bit, work around with it, and yeah, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments.